Wow, that's very stressful. I can imagine. So there, you have a couple of people who witnessed what happened, seen the circumstance surrounding it.
Yeah, my son's girlfriend, she directly saw what happened, and her aunt and uncle um, were witnesses to what happened immediately after. Um, Her aunt said she heard the car screaming down the street. She said it was loud, and when she hit Marcus, she said she heard a bang. It was so loud she thought the driver hit a tree. So she initially came out to see if she could see if the driver hit a tree, and that's when, you know, um, my son's girlfriend screamed that he was the one that actually got hit, and she thought he was dead. Because she said that she initially thought that that car, because it was by such a high rate of speed, she thought that the car hit a tree. It was that loud.
Mm. So with all of these people seeing what happened, and there being debris from the car over the road, it seemed like that would be enough information to know who did it.
Yeah, it took them a while. They had to call in the state police because it's a state road, and the state police did their accident reconstruction, which took I think three or 4 hours to do. And I assume that it was the state police who were able to determine the year, make, and model of the car based on the car parts left behind. They gave that information to the Plymouth police, and the Plymouth police did a registry search to see who owned that particular vehicle
Mm-hmm.
that lived in the immediate area, and they started there, and they went home to home, and they said they lucked out early on in that process and came across her car with damage.
So,
and and I believe they. I mean, I just this is where it gets fuzzy. I don't know if they confronted her as soon as they found the car, or if it was the next day. I've heard a little bit of a conflicting story from the police about that, so I don't know where in the process she was actually spoken to.
mm-hmm.
All I know is that her car was impounded by the Plymouth police, and it seems like after that point, that's when this whole investigation kind of went left. Once they had contact with her, everything all of a sudden changed.
What do you mean when you say that?
Well, they were gung ho to find who hit this part, hit my son or whatever, until they actually found her. Then it seems like everything changed. Initially, they told me, and they told the state police, who also told me that she was cooperating with the investigation, that she had told them she was leaving work, and that she thought she had an animal. That's what they told me for weeks. So when I, in turn, found out her name and where she worked and her job title, and was like, there's no way she would have been leaving work because of her job. She wouldn't be working that time of the night. So I said, unless she has a second job somewhere, it's literally impossible to have been on the road leaving work. Plus, the location of the accident is south of the hospital and south of her home address. So, and she was heading north. So it just, the timeline doesn't gel with her story of leaving work. She was heading, in essence, she was heading towards her home and towards the hospital. She wasn't heading away from those locations.
So did the police tell you who she was?
Yes, they did give me her name and her insurance information. But that's about it in terms of information about her. I had to find out the other stuff's pretty much on my own. When I contacted her insurance company to start an initial claim, they hadn't even heard about the accident, and my son had already been dead like 3 or 4 days at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to reach out to her, and according to them, she had already lawyered up, and her attorney said he'd give a statement, and so insurance companies left blindsided. They can you know, going to be stuck with, the medical bills and paying for a part of the funeral. But they don't even know what's going on with the car, what kind of damage. They want to know where she works, how many hours she works, did she fall asleep at the wheel? They want to know what's happening too. And they got left in the lurch also.
So where does it break down? Because even with me,
Well, right now, the last time I talked to the police department, I talked to the captain who told me she was being cooperative with the investigation. And these things take time and still being investigated. They're waiting on the state police to finish their accident reconstruction report before they can determine final charges. I'm like, fine, okay. 2 days later, I get a call from the detective who's supposed to be investigating the case, and he told me just the opposite. He said she wasn't cooperative, refused to talk to the police officers when they arrived at her house.
well,
I was like, well, what do you mean? You guys have been saying for weeks that she was cooperative, and now you're saying she's not? So what's going on with that? Either she was cooperative or she wasn't. And I told them I had an issue with them not testing her to see if she was impaired. They initially told me that based on them speaking with her and observing her behavior, they determined, and her story of leaving work, they determined that there was no way she was impaired, so that wasn't an option of them testing her for that. And then this story they gave me for a month. And then I'd say about a week ago, it changed. And this detective who was supposed to be investigating the case, who said when he called her, never went to her house, he called her on the phone, and her attorney answered her phone and refused to put her on, so he never even talked to her. He's saying that she was uncooperative, wouldn't talk to the officers that went to her house. So therefore, I'm left to wonder, well, if that's the story and not the original one I was told, how are they able to determine she wasn't impaired if she wouldn't talk to them? So it's just things like that leave you wondering what the heck is really going on? Who is she connected to? And who in that police department is possibly protecting her? Or who else? It could be maybe somebody beyond them. I don't know.
so I thought that if you have a hit and run that you kill somebody, you go to jail, they lock you up for vehicular manslaughter, if not homicide. I don't know a lot about the law and the legal process.
I don't either for the state, but the when I spoke with the detective, he said that, which I already knew because I did some research, that leaving the scene causing bodily injury, it's a criminal citation. But according to that detective, it's not an arrestable offense.
Yes, and that's another issue that we have. We have information that's actually not the case. I mean, we have cases where individuals that we are acquainted with have actually had arrest warrants put out for them for simple motor vehicle accidents that they left the scene and they were arrested for that when no injuries were caused, no deaths were caused. So that's kind of the question that I have is, that kind of seems less serious